Hey guys, it's JJ and welcome back. Just a little additional video this week. I'm going to be showing you the build for the Darby kids house. Basically, you need a home or a household for the kids to move out of their home with their mother into. So I've created this little house here. I'm just going to play the build for you, speed it up, make it nice and quick. And you can see the house that the Darby kids are going to be living in once they move out of home. Alright, here we go. So I decided I wanted to give them one of the smaller lots because there are eventually going to be 8 of them, but there are still like just a couple at the moment. They didn't really need a very big lot. I don't have a problem building them like a multi-story house. It doesn't need to be built on a budget either, so I did cheat. And I did use cheats to get them extra money so I could build their house. Because they're not part of the standard gameplay, they're not living in a household, the same household as Tessa, so they don't need to be restricted by the kinds of funds that they can use. So I wanted to make it a restriction-free build. I also kind of wanted to follow the style of some houses that I've seen online recently. A lot of what myself and some of my friends have been doing has been like playing Sims or looking at houses, recreating house builds that we've seen online. And I thought I would recreate a particular style, not like an individual house, but a style of house where you have like 2 stories with balconies and small backyards with paneling on the outside and a lot of like white features. It's a style that I haven't really gone for before. I tend to prefer the darker colors, more like earthy tones, but this one I thought I'd do maybe like an all white or a close to all white build and go for a more retro or vintage look rather than something modern. So a lot of the features that I used on this home are from I think the Get Together pack and the Cats and Dogs pack. I like a lot of the older, more like vintage aesthetic of some of those items, like wood paneling and wooden features rather than your stainless steel or metal features. I don't know if I'd say they're my favourite packs, but they were definitely my favourite to use for this build. I really love the ability to manipulate stairs in The Sims. I really liked, I think it was Sims 2 that had, or maybe 3, it was 2 that had the spiral staircases, the circular ones, and they came in like a standard for square occupancy. I think you could get them going in opposite directions, so you could get one where you start climbing up like towards the left or up towards the right, so you could get them on opposing directions. But in general, they only occupied one small amount of space. I think this was pre wall height adjustment. I really liked those spiral staircases, and you can't really get those anymore, and I understand why. It might make the feature of wall height adjustment a little bit tricky, but at the same time I really do miss those spiral staircases, which is why I like to manipulate the straight staircases that we have and turn them into like multi-directional stairs, so that you go up and they have a little landing, and then you go up to the next section, there's another little landing. That, I don't know, it just feels really cool to me to be able to do that. I tried to stick with mostly like neutral or soft tones for this build, and I went with a slightly more retro aesthetic for the furniture as well as the actual house itself. So it's like wooden floorboards and the same kind of wallpaper all over except for the bathroom. I do actually change the bathroom. I realized I made it a bit too modern looking in comparison with the rest of the house, so I did eventually change that. And I adjusted the stairs and the living space like a few times. Oh, it took me so long to figure out how to get the staircase back to being straight. I like to go with themed bedrooms. It's kind of a little quirk that I have, I guess. I am not overly fussed on what kind of theme that I'm going for each bedroom, but I like to make them all different from each other. So sometimes I use the same bed but in a different color pattern, or in a different color scheme. But I like to have each bedroom, if I can, I start with a different bed, and then I'll find matching pieces to go along with it. And that doesn't have to be exact, but something that kind of fits in with the color scheme is nice. I did have a little bit of difficulty finding rugs that fit with the color schemes for these bedrooms that like fit the size of the bedroom. So I did actually use some of those little like keyboard hacks that you can use to resize things to make them fit. And I'm pretty happy with the like ultimate end result. I think the bedrooms that I ended up choosing were pretty cool. This rug that I'm putting in the living room, I don't think I've used it before, but I actually really like it. It's geometric and it's nice like color scheme. Depending on the color scheme that you're going for, it kind of can match almost any room. Some of the stuff that I use in this particular build is actually custom content. I believe the bed in this sort of florally pale wood bedroom is a custom content item. So I changed the tone of the bathroom and made it a little bit more retro by putting in the square tiles. I pretty much just duplicated the bathrooms in this one, and I didn't realize until after I'd already finished building them that I could have built one, copied the room, and then just dropped it. Dropped the copy in on top of the bathroom in the other story of the house, but I didn't realize until after I was done. I was like, doesn't matter that much, I guess. But I always forget that you can build a room and then literally copy the whole room and just drop it anywhere you want it. I loved these retro couches. At first I couldn't decide which pattern of the material that I wanted, but I think this stripy look really goes well with the wallpaper that I chose. Yeah, I was also looking for like a more retro style kind of plant. The original one was a bit too like sleek and modern, so I wanted something with a bit of a worn in kind of look. I have a tendency, I think, to lean towards creating little landings when I use stairs, and it doesn't always fit with the style of house that I'm building. But I think in this instance it works really well because of the retro kind of aesthetic I was going for. Having a little landing upstairs worked out really well. There we go. I ended up adjusting the stairs so I could put a little door into the outside because I forgot that I didn't give the house a back door. Yeah, we've got like a little landing here, so there's room for a little shelf on the entrance to the landing when you come upstairs, and then there's room for a little bookshelf at sort of the back end of the landing around the railing of the stairs. I had a bit of trouble figuring out how to add a roof that actually looked nice to this part of the house, and it took me a little while before I realized that I could just use the one piece of roof, extend it the full length that I needed without actually coming through the house. It's a feature that I don't think they initially had in like Sims 3. If you built a roof and extended it too far into the house, you could actually see bits of the roof when you were in gameplay inside the house with the Sims. So it took me a little while to figure out that I just needed one piece of roof and then to just bring it forward. There we go. So it's definitely a feature that I appreciate them adding into The Sims 4. And I think it looks quite cool. It kind of fits with the aesthetic of the house, having the little extra bit of roof at the back. rather than having like another little patio or balcony, as it were. I loved these little outdoor couches. I don't know what it is about them. I think they just look really comfy, really nice. Like something that I would want in real life in my own backyard, if we had a backyard. I also really like these lights, but it really annoyed me that they didn't fit perfectly in the little veranda. I kept changing my mind what kind of lights I wanted. Did I want regular bulb lights or lantern lights? But regardless of what kind of light I chose, none of them really fit properly. I made a bunch of adjustments to try to make them fit aesthetically with the house, and they just weren't sized properly. So I ended up extending the size of the house to fit the lights in without overlapping. And I needed more money to do that. So it worked out well for the kitchen, being able to shift the fridge over so it actually is part of the kitchen area and it's next to the bench. I have actually seen a lot of houses in real life where the fridge isn't directly in the kitchen, like it's opposite the kitchen or it's further into the living space than it is in the actual kitchen area. But I don't really like that. Personally, it's not that interesting to me to have the fridge be like separate and apart from the kitchen. I'd rather it just be in the kitchen. I really liked this little tree as well. Had little stones at the base of it. I think that might have been a custom content item as well. There's a little lounge chair, there we go, that I found that looked really good at the front of the house. I was like, you could quite happily just sit on the front porch, watch the cars drive by and like read a book. And then I found some little lantern lights that I really wanted to put up, but I couldn't find a color scheme that really matched with the aesthetic I was going for. So I ended up finding some lantern style like sconce lights that looked really cool. So I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. There's definitely a few more adjustments that I would have liked to have made, but by the time I got to this point, it was getting really fiddly. It was taking a lot of time, and I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna leave it. I didn't actually end up putting a lot of random little knick-knacky objects or like living touches, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. That is the official final build for the first house of the Darby children. Obviously there will have to be more later on to accommodate all of the other children, but I will be showing you those videos as well, so stick around and let's get straight into the Creative Sim edit for the Darby household. I'm going to be editing mostly Tessa and the teenagers, but I might do a little bit of editing on Faith just to give her some cute new outfits. Tessa's hairstyle and outfits will be changing, all of her outfits. I'm getting kind of bored with her old looks, so let's change it up. I've got some Harry Potter custom content that I wanted to use in that particular look. I think it works really well with the outfit, and I'm really happy with the custom content from that pack that I found. I'm loving this overall look for Tessa. I think it really suits her as a mum and it goes really well with her aesthetic. I wasn't really happy with a lot of the full body outfit options for the seasons pack, but I went with something that I thought suited Tessa and that I thought she would choose for herself, which I think sounds a little bit weird considering she's not a real person, but whatever. Daniel's outfits were really easy to choose. I think I mainly went with like pastels and light greys and beiges. And I'm loving the headphone look for some of the Sims, but I didn't think it quite suited Daniel. With his hairstyle though, I did choose a pair of really wide-rimmed glasses, and I went with some earrings as well. I also edited his eyes just a little bit. They looked like he was suffering from hay fever. So I edited his eyes and gave him some really nice, just casual, interesting outfits with some pastel color palettes. Faith was really easy to edit. A lot of what she was wearing was pretty cool to begin with. With a few minor changes, I managed to shake it up a little bit, make it look a little bit more interesting. And I'm really loving her hair. It reminds me a lot of Tessa. She seems to have picked up a few traits and aspects of her look from her mum, which is really cool. And that brings us to the end of our Create a Sim. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.